Oh, yeah, you are early, or you were. Hi, guys, I'm a few minutes late. I apologize. Technical difficulties, like the camera, I was having problems setting up the camera. I figure some of you will pour in. The live was not canceled, don't worry. I always start like 5 to 10 minutes after the actual time. So, one person was early. I saw that. What's going on? I am going to turn on my phone. No, I didn't forget. Don't worry. I just had to literally so the problem was I couldn't set up my microphone, and then my stand that normally holds up my iPad just collapsed. So I was like, "Great." Which is fine. So, what's going Okay, there's a few of you on. See, I had a feeling. I was like, if I'm last week I was on time. So what's going on, guys? I'm gonna be looking to the left because I literally have, no joke, my laptop right here. I need to figure out how to set this up. I'm gonna do this again next week, same time. So be used to Fridays live with Maria at YouTube. I'm not gonna miss a Friday. The point is to do this forever, hopefully. Unless something comes up, obviously I would announce that. So no, did not forget. Hi, Luke's. So what's up, everybody? I know, it takes a few minutes for everyone to kind of pour in. People pop in and pop off. What's going on in your reality? What do you need clarification on? What are you struggling with? Can you hear me clearly? The microphone seems to do that. I like the microphone. Overall, pretty decent. Last time I had it kind of far away from me, so I'm trying to face it towards my face. I'm still not used to it. I've been told that the smaller little blue ones work really well, but y'all a quiet bunch this morning. If we need to, we'll keep the live short. Doesn't really matter. We kind of roll with the punches every week. So let's talk about something that I think is really important. And then if you guys have questions, feel free to pop in, ask whatever you want. Something that I think a lot of people forget when manifesting is consistency, discipline. Hi, Darlene. Yeah, consistency is huge. We underestimate how important that is because consistency bears, think about it. Consistency is everything. Dedication, right? Being consistent with something. So that way it can push out in your reality, because if you're constantly back and forth, right? Or if you're serving, we'll just use the Neville Goddard term. If you're serving two masters, a lot of us do this. I'm guilty of this too. I'll be like, oh, I want to get up early every week. Let's just use this example, okay? Because I've been struggling with this lately, and I think it's a good example to use because it could literally be used towards any manifestation. Hi, Clasia, how are you? Hope I said that right. No, Clasia, right? Correct me if I was wrong. The consistency issue, right? So my thing is, I like getting up at 6 a.m. every morning. At least I loved it when I used to do it, okay? I have been really lacking at doing that. I've been wanting to get up at 6 a.m. because there's so many things I want to do, and I feel like there's not enough time in the day because sometimes I get up late and then I get tired, yada, 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 right? Not that late, but you get what I'm saying. Sometimes I'll sleep in until 9, 10. On the weekends, I will sometimes sleep until 10:30, max 11 sometimes if I've been out way too late, or I'll take a mid nap. And it's funny because I've been wanting to shift this, right? So it's been going on for a few months now. Sometimes I care, sometimes I don't. It's not something I've really persisted in. We're being really blasé about this, right? We're being really honest. Okay, so if we're looking at this aspect of I'm wanting to change waking up at 6 a.m., right? But I'm complaining how it's hard. I always forget. I never want to get up. And I'm just like, oh, I never want to get up. The alarm goes off and I just sit there in bed. Or I keep telling people, oh, I stay up really late, right? I procrastinate. I say I'm going to do something. I'm not going to do it. Am I going to wake up at 6 a.m.? No, because I'm being the version of me that sleeps in, the version of me that's not taking this seriously, the version of me that hits snooze or sleeps, rolls over when the alarm goes off. The reason we do this is because we become the character, right, that we are claiming to be. And it's funny because I do want to change this about myself, but I wasn't really trying to change this version of myself, meaning I didn't have the discipline, right? So I wasn't being that version of me. So when the alarm clock would go off, I'd like roll over, pass it back out, or I would stay up late, knowing even though I wanted to get up early. How am I supposed to get up early if I'm not being that version? Yeah, he is really cute. Chip's a good boy. I will go back through the comments. Don't worry. I want to finish the point because a lot of y'all wait to like start commenting. So if I'm sleeping in late, if I'm not getting up when the alarm goes off, if I'm like, oh, it's okay, I'll do it tomorrow, and then I feel like shit later, and I'm just like, oh, I'm so lazy, I never get up at 6 a.m., I never do this, like, I'm over exaggerating, I don't beat myself up like that, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like, if I'm staying in that state, then I'm going to automatically become that person. I'm going to keep being the version of me that can't get up early, that sleeps in, that drags her ass, and can't be that new version of self. Now, in order to change that, I need to start having those inner conversations or start believing that I'm that person, or at least attempt to, right? So it'd be like, what would it be like to get up early and feel very accomplished? You know, what would it be like to be the person that falls asleep early? Person that doesn't dilly-dally, the person that as soon as they hear their alarm just jumps out of bed excited, right? So if I start affirming or having inner conversations about that, I'm going to become that. Instead of thinking, oh, I can't do this, this sucks, I hate waking up early, I hate when my alarm goes off, I never want to move, right? If I consistently keep being that person, I'm going to get more of that. I'm going to think that. I'm going to keep having experiences like that, like me not getting up early, and I'm going to keep feeling groggy in the morning when I get up. Now, when I start to think about it, if I start shifting to, oh, I love being an early riser. I get up I've always gotten up early. I've always been a 6 a.m. person. I'm always excited to jump out of bed, right? If every time I think about that anytime I think about it, I'm affirming it, I'm having inner conversations about it, I'm being that person, what's eventually going to happen? That alarm's going to go off and I'm going to jump out excited out of bed eventually. May not happen right away, but over a course of time, over a course of days, or maybe in a week or so or two, or we'll say a month the max, I will finally become that person because I will be in that version of me and I will start taking those actions. That's how it works with everything in your reality. It's not that you can't shift because there's a version of you that's already that person. So you just need to think from that version, right? Be that person. We don't manifest what we want, we manifest what we are. I like stress this so much because this is so important when embodying states. So if I want to be that person, I got to be them now. No more, it's okay if you have a moment where you're like, oh, I'm lazy or I didn't get up early, right? But then I'm going to be like, no, that's the old me, the old self, the old version of Maria, the Maria that hates getting up early, the version of me that dilly-daddles at 1 a.m., the version of me that doesn't get up, that watches stupid movies until 3 a.m. We're just making shit up at this point, right? But instead of believing those things or thinking those things, when that happens, I'm just going to be like, that was the old Maria, right? No, the new version of Maria springs out of bed once the alarm clock goes off. I'm always excited to wake up. I'm a morning person. I've always been a morning person. I love routine. And if I think that every time I think about it, boom, I'm going to become it. That all I'm trying to say is the most important part here is becoming that version. Because a lot of us will do this. Like we'll be like, like whether it's your specific person or a job or whatever, or money, you'll be like, oh, you'll be imagining $10,000 in your bank account, but you're like, oh, I'm broke. How am I going to pay that bill? But you're doing that 80% of the day. You haven't shifted. I wouldn't even say serving two masters at that point because you're not even back and forth in between both realities. Listen, you're going to have moments, you're going to slip up, you're going to have doubt, perfectly normal on this journey, but it's really important that you are consistent, that you are conscious, that you pay attention when you're thinking. And the best way to pay attention when you're thinking is just to see how you're feeling, right? When you catch yourself in the old story, be like, nope, that's the old me. And then just shift to what you want instead. Okay, let me look at these because there's a couple. Hey, so I had a question. How do I keep comparing myself to my pretty friend and overthinking to the point that I feel ugly and think she's prettier than me? and I successfully manifested my SP recently. Congratulations, by the way. That's a huge accomplishment. A lot of people underestimate how huge that is, okay? Even though I know he won't cheat, I keep feeling like he's gonna think she's attractive, and I don't want that. Meaning yourself, right? Okay, there's some more clarification here. I want to be the prettiest, and I want him to think every girl is ugly. Okay, so I get what you're doing here, and I get what you want. So the most important thing is shifting your self-concept, because it has nothing to do with them, right? It has to do with how you feel about yourself. The first explanation is perfect. You said, I keep comparing myself to my pretty friend. So you don't feel adequate enough, right? You feel less than. You don't feel good enough. And then overthinking to the point where I feel ugly and that she's prettier than me. So you have some belief on some level that she's going to get what I want instead, or other people get what I want. So you got to look at your self-concept from that standpoint. I wouldn't worry so much, because you even just said that you got your SP back here. But the thing is, if you're worried of other pretty girls, right, or other pretty people around you and feeling insecure and inadequate as a person, and don't shift that self-concept first, you can keep them around, but you will most likely, unfortunately, and I'm being really honest here, right, create a version where they might cheat because you haven't shifted as a person. Because you're saying here, you're overthinking it, meaning like this is probably becoming, it's possible it could become your predominant state. Okay, I'm not saying it has at this point, and I'm not saying that you can't stop it like this. This is about making a choice and knowing your worth, right? So what do you think? Here's a good question. We're going to make this a conversation today, because I'm just kind of in that mood. There's something about your friend other than her prettiness that you feel that makes her worthy or deserving. What is it that you feel you're lacking? Because you're just saying here, I feel like I'm ugly. It's more than that. Do you see what I'm saying? What is it about her in particular? Like, what is it about her? Is it the way she stands? Is it her confidence? Is it the fact that things come easily to her? And then you want to become those things, right? So you want to incorporate a self-concept. Because when we're feeling inadequate to comparing ourselves to other people, we don't believe we're good enough. We think there's always someone better than us. We always believe that the things that we want are going to go to someone better, right? Like, I don't get what I want. There's someone better than me. They're going to leave me for somebody better. So you're kind of on that wavelength. If you really want them to be that person, I can't answer that completely. I'm going to come back to it because there's a couple other questions. When you come back to that, so when you're thinking from that, right, what is it about that person that you feel makes them more adequate than you? What is it about them that makes them more prettier, more important than you? Okay. So I love your videos, lives. It has been putting me on track. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, Athera. Yeah, I'm going to keep doing these. I don't know if they're always going to be as long, like an hour. I'm planning on making a subscription-based, I'm going to start subscription coaching, meaning like that's going to be part of it, but that's like another conversation for another day. But thank you, Thea. I appreciate that. How do you believe that you've embodied the state and those new thoughts? What do you mean? How do you believe that you've embodied the state? Because you're embodying the state when you feel the relief or when you're thinking from the state. Do you see what I'm saying? So here's the thing. People think they need to be in the state all the time. That's not what it is. It's about frequency, returning to the state, choosing to be that person, right? Like picking to be that person. This isn't about working harder, or because I used to think it was about this too. Like I have to work hard, or this is hard, or it's, I have to heal, or, it's going to take time. Those are all beliefs. If it's not working for you, or it's feeling like those are, I don't want to say roadblocks, or those are things that you need to overcome, or those are a part of the process. That's because your beliefs, you believe that that's part of the process. You believe that these things need to happen in order for you to get what you want. Do you see what I'm saying? So you believe that it's a hard journey or that you need to heal or you need to work on your self-concept or things don't come to you easily. It's a reflection of what you already believe about life to some extent. So you need to look at those things and be like, okay, so I have beliefs that things are hard. You need to change those beliefs first and foremost. And then you just need to choose to be that person. It's about frequency. It's just about returning to being that person, not serving two masters. Like continually in your mind being like, okay, this is who I'm being right now. And this is who I'm choosing to. It's all a choice. That's what I'm trying to explain to you guys. It's literally like Netflix, right? Like you're scrolling through, and I know it doesn't seem that easy because you're like, what are you talking about? Because we're taught not to believe things can come to us easily. It's literally a choice and sticking to it. And even if you fall out of the choice, you keep going back to it and eventually it will become who you predominantly are. That's how the subconscious works. You do something enough. Think of a habit, right? Like brushing your teeth. I know this is going to sound really silly, but like a lot of us brush our teeth. Some people once a day, I know, some people twice, some people 3 times. It just depends on your it's frequency, right? In order to become the person who brushes their teeth, you need to create the habit of brushing your teeth. Let's say you want to be the person that brushes your teeth 3 times a day, okay? When you wake up, let's say 4 times a day, just for sake, just for the, I don't know why my brain's not working right now, but like just for sake purposes or just for the topic of conversation. Your goal is to brush your teeth 4 times a day. Okay. Let's say you eat twice a day. You want to brush your teeth when you wake up, when you go to bed, and 2 times after you eat. Okay. Just because you believe that this is going to make you have the most cleanest and whitest teeth ever. Okay. So if I believe that brushing my teeth 4 times a day is what is required, it's what's going to be required, just like anything else in your reality, which it's funny. I was leading to one point, but then another idea came into my head as I was working on it. Oh my God, this happens all the time. So I remember I am you pushed out. So I am just like reflecting what's within all of you. Okay. So if I want to be the person who consistently always brushes my teeth, I need to become the person that consistently brushes my teeth. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I don't feel like brushing my teeth. I need to get up and brush my teeth. I need to become the person that brushes their teeth all the time and has great oral hygiene, right? So I would think to myself, I love that I have the best hygiene in the world, right? Like I love that my teeth are so bright and clean. I love that how fresh they feel. I love that my breath always smells minty, right? So what's going to happen? You're always going to be the person that brushes their teeth 4 times a day, and you're going to be the person eventually becomes a habit. You're just going to always do it without thinking. You're probably, let's say, like how are you going to brush your teeth if you're out in public and you just had a meal? You're going to carry like a little toothbrush in your purse because that's who you are. It's a part of your identity. It's a part of your self-concept. I know it sounds silly, but think about it. Let's talk about people who have OCD. This is going to piss some people off, but I really don't care. Okay? OCD is a disorder, right? It's something that people do to feel safe. It's the best way to describe it, okay? So if I believe that touching this microphone 10 times makes me feel at peace, I'm going to touch this microphone 10 times every hour to feel at peace, right? People that have OCD do those type of things. They identify with that identity and then they become it. So if you become the person with perfect oral hygiene, you're going to do the recommended amount, even though it's extreme, right? We're just using extreme cases here where you're brushing teeth 4 times a day and you're going to have sparkly teeth and you're just the person with awesome teeth and awesome oral hygiene because you've identified as that person. And even before, maybe you only brush your teeth every other day if you were lucky because you're like, I have bad hygiene. I suck at this. I hate brushing my teeth. It's such a pain in the ass. It's annoying. It's daunting. Right? It's just like anything. You're going to be that person. Before you were the person that barely brushed their teeth every other day and forgot all the time. And because every time you thought about, you brushing your teeth and the disgust, you switched to I love having bright teeth and I have great breath, right? You're switching to that person. I know I'm using like really weird analogies, but it's good to talk about sometimes things other than, or use other analogies for things. Okay. Let me see. So the whole thing about embodying states, getting back to the same thing. It's just about frequency. You just return to it. It's a choice you make. It's literally just a choice you make. That's it. Okay. Okay. She almost has 1 million followers on most platforms. She gets recognized when we are outside. Oh, okay. So obviously you're not going to tell us who this is. And my ex cheated on me with her. So I'm scared that it might happen again. Okay. So, my darling, that's a lot more. Okay. So we have more information here. So you think she's more important because of the following that she has, right? And then the other thing here is that they have a past. I mean, there's different ways to look at this, okay? So your ex cheated on you with her. All right. So I get what's happened in this scenario, and I like don't want to tell you what to do. You have an insecurity 100% that you need to shift within yourself, feeling good enough, feeling secure, feeling like you're worthy, deserving, etc. Right? But so this stems from, and guys, one thing I want you to remember on it live, you can get advice overall, but I, don't have you in front of me because I'm only getting a snapshot of what has, the whole story. Because now we're uncovering more, right? This is a friend he's cheated with. Okay, I'm a real tough biatch, and I'm not saying that you can't keep somebody in your life, but I'm also the kind of person that if I was in your situation, I wouldn't talk to that person anymore. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not saying you shouldn't talk to the person because it could happen with anybody else. But for me personally, even if, and there's nothing wrong with wanting your SP back. I think that's great that you brought them back and it's wonderful. But for me, like the girl code thing is I know everyone is us pushed out, but like for me, friendship wouldn't even be on the table. But you did create that version 1000%. And I would have too. Let's say I was in your position. I probably wouldn't talk to that girl anymore. Okay. So we don't know the whole reasons why. It's so weird that comes to my mind, but do you think that do you have a belief that this person did it because they're a vindictive person, or do you just think they did it because, well, I mean, obviously they did it because you're insecure 1000%. But remember, we also have stories about people. Do you have the right version of your friend? Do you have a belief that you have a friend you can trust? Or that you can trust people, because that clearly is going on in your belief system, right? If you have a story that someone in your life you can't trust, that they go after what you want, that they try to harm you, I'm not saying that's intentionally like what's going on here, but there could be a number of things. Do you see what I'm saying? So you need to look at all those things and then shift those beliefs accordingly. So you just need to be secure in yourself. Like I said earlier, that's like probably the most important thing here. And then you need to reevaluate not only your story about your specific person, about this person in your life. And I don't know how close you two are. I don't know if this person is your best friend, an acquaintance, very close friend, family. I don't want to say family member. So you look at notoriety, like, right? Like you're looking at external things in this person's reality to say that this person's more important than you. Oh, they've got a bunch of followers. She's prettier than me. He cheated on her with me. She's got to be important and more important than me, right? Like it's a combination of a lot of things. So yeah, you need to look at all that and you need to change your beliefs. Here, at the end of the day, you have insecurities that you need to work on. Wait, hold on. Broken internet. Okay, so let's get down to something because you are saying different things. You said my ex cheated on me with her. Okay, I'm just going to call you out because your story is changing. Okay? And now you're saying he didn't cheat on her. He tried talking to her. Two very different things. So I'm not getting the whole story here. And this is what I want to say too, when you're texting or when people are writing things out or even on lives, unless I'm on a call with someone, it's hard to really pinpoint anything. Like when I'm on a one-on-one call, I can get down to the root problem because I know when someone's lying. I'm looking at your face and I can tell by your facial expressions. And I'm not saying that's what you're lying. I'm not saying you're lying, but the story here has changed a couple times, right? And I'm not here to like make you feel bad or make you feel like shit, but like first it's like I'm insecure, I don't feel attractive, and I'm afraid that, right? I'm afraid that he might cheat. This is like kind of your story. And then we jump to he cheated on her. You didn't say he tried talking to her. You said he cheated on me with her. It's the exact cheating to me is he banged her or something happened. To me, talking is not cheating. Okay? And then here you have a story. I'm just letting you know because your story has changed a couple times. Okay, I'm like really confused where I'm at because just a lot going on with this story. Hold on one second. And I'm not laughing at you. It's just like, I don't even know what's going on. Hold on. Okay. I'm just gonna move on. Hold on. And my ex cheated on. Okay, you said cheated on me with her. That's love, unless they actually like okay, let's define cheating. Okay. To me, cheating is when two people have done the deed, meaning they've had sex, intercourse, or messed around, some kind of sexual things, okay? Or maybe kissed, but that's like mild cheating. This is just my definition, okay? Because your story here keeps changing. And I'm not trying to be rooted, but it's hard to give you advice when like it's like this thing and then that thing. At the end of the day, let's be really real about one thing, okay? Hold on. Let's be really real about one thing because I don't want to overtake the whole live about this situation. So clearly you're struggling with your self-concept, okay? You need to work on your self-concept. Regardless of if it was flirting, if it was sexual, if there were pictures, if it was just talking. And you mentioned that she told you something about it, I think, to some extent. Okay, so she's a loyal friend, clearly, right? Because she told you about it. That's great. So it's not about your friend. You got to remember when you're coming to me with a story, I don't know the whole story. And I'm getting just pieces of information. And here the story is consistently changing. It's not what I thought it was in the beginning because I'm getting new information, and also some of the information is a bit, I don't want to say contradicting, but it's different, okay? To me, cheating is not, that's not cheating. It was the possibility of him cheating on you with her, right? Or him trying to hit on her. We'll just say he tried hitting on her, okay? Which wasn't nice, but that came from your insecurity. At the end of the day, regardless of the situation, because I don't want to make it about all this, and I'm not upset with you, I'm not thinking you're lying. It's just that like maybe you weren't comfortable sharing all the details before or whatever. It doesn't matter what the case is at this point, broken internet, okay? All I'm going to say is you got to work on your self-concept. You need to embody being a version of you that feels good enough. I wouldn't focus so much on your SP right now. I would just focus on becoming a more stable you and feeling good enough as you are. Because I don't know where you feel inadequate in your life. I think maybe not having a social media presence may make you feel inadequate. You also mentioned you don't feel pretty, right? So it's not feeling chosen, not feeling wanted, not feeling attractive. So you need to start shifting to a version of you. What is the version of you that is that version doing, thinking, and believing? You need to look at all those things, okay? Like, I get it. A lot of you will be like, oh, it's this, oh, it's that, oh, it's this, right? So it's a combination. It's your self-concept at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what has or hasn't happened. This all stemmed from your insecurities, and now it's time to shift being a version of you that doesn't have those insecurities, okay? And like I said, I'm not here to call you out or make you feel bad, but the fact that the story keeps changing too is kind of like, it's very like, I don't mind coaching people on lives, but I don't like getting this deep for several reasons, okay? In a little chat box where you only get like 2 lines, right? I only get so much information, meaning I go based off of how I feel, right? Like what I think is the right information to give you. And the other thing is I take your word for it, right? But when you're using a word like cheating, to me, that's not cheating. It's just not. And here's the thing. It's about your insecurity. It could have very well possibly been, and I'm not hating on you, right? Like this is just me being very brutally honest with you, because if you're not aware of the problem, Um, and I'm not doing anything wrong here. I'm just being honest. And you guys know how I am. I'm a very blunt coach. So I can sugarcoat it and bullshit it for days. And the truth is, a lot of coaches, and I'm not trying to be mean, and I'm not saying this is what's going on, right? Like I'm clarifying before I speak, because you might take it that way. Probably would not answer your question because you changed your story a couple times. Do you see what I'm saying? They'd just be like, forget this, right? So you need to get clear in your own story, and you need to be really real with what's going on. Okay, so it's very possible in the beginning that your friend and this guy were just friends, but because you felt so insecure as a person and you were in a state of feeling jealous and feeling not good enough, you believed something else was happening, and then your SP reflected that, right, to some extent. I don't know the whole story, like I said, but at the core root, regardless of situations, regardless of drama, regardless of things, and I don't want to trigger people, so we're going to kind of steer off of this, okay? And this is the last thing I'm going to say about it. Work on your insecurities. If you need one-on-one coaching, I offer it. The links are below, okay? This is one of those things where I need to have a real conversation with you to understand what's really going on, even though at the core principle, all I'm going to say is it's insecurity. You need to work on your insecurities about not feeling good enough, and then whatever beliefs you have in the way, kind of steering that, okay? And then I'm going to move on, okay? And like I said, no hate. It's just that I feel like I spent enough time on this, and I also feel like it was one of those things, like I felt like I was giving you the information you needed, but it was also getting a little muddy. So we'll just keep it at that, okay? Let's move on to Darlene. Hold on, I want to read this really quick. Okay, so I'm going to move on to Darlene's question. That doesn't mean you can't ask another question. Broken internet, feel free to. I just, for right now, want to move on to, because there's other questions in the queue, okay? In the queue basically means in the line, if you don't know what that means. Let's look. I am feeling like I don't want my SP anymore due to his inconsistency, okay? I feel like I'm deserving of much more than being treated like an option. Okay. I feel like my self-concept has gotten so much better. That's great, because I have been practicing being in the state. So proud of myself. Congratulations, by the way. That's a huge accomplishment. I always like to congratulate you guys when you get there, because that's awesome. From time to time I fall back, but I have gotten much better. Good. I know I want my SP, but practically want him to come back. Hold on. There's a lot going on here. Hold on. Someone else commented, and then I lost my train of thought. Because I have been practicing being in the state, so proud of myself from time to time, I feel like I go back and have gotten much better. I know I still want my SP, but practically want him to come back to be the best version of him, more romantic. Okay? If I don't, I plan on accepting him. So thankful for your advice. Okay. So, Darlene, congratulations. Like I said, I will congratulate you forever on the self-concept shift, but you do still have a belief here, right? Because you're like, I'm feeling like I want my SP. I feel like I don't want them anymore due to the inconsistency. What are they being inconsistent with? Because somewhere it's either you have a story that they're like, I don't know what your exact story is. Inconsistency could mean a lot of things, right? Like, it sounds like hot and cold behavior. If I'm being really honest, like we're going from gut reaction here and from what you're saying, two things could be going on, or it could just be the one thing. It sounds like you're being inconsistent with your story, with your SP. And it also sounds like you're being inconsistent probably with your self-concept. Or do you feel like you've got that pretty like hard down? Because here's the thing. A lot of people will be like, oh, I want to give up on my SP because they're not coming in the way I want, which I understand, right? Like from human aspect, 3D you, the version of you that doesn't know how to manifest, that's fine. But if you're consistently saying they're not showing up the way I want, then you're going to get more of that. They're not changing, right? So it's like you're serving two masters. You're like going to the end, visual. Okay, perfect. So I know exactly what you're doing here. You are living in the end, but then you're looking to external reality and then right away being like, nothing's happening. A lot of people get stuck in this loop. This journey has nothing to do with your SP, nothing. And to some extent, you're probably being a little bit hot and cold with your own self-concept. Because you did say you fall back, which doesn't mean that you're not predominantly doing it, right? So I don't know, okay, I need you to answer this and then I'll be able to give you a better answer to the question. I mean, I'm pretty sure I already know the answer to the question. Are you being hot and cold with yourself or just with him? Because I guarantee you're being hot and cold with him, 1000%. Because your story is he's inconsistent, he's not changing, or he's half-assed. If you keep focusing on that, you're going to get more of that, my love. You need to drop that story too. Guys, stop confirming what's happening in the 3D reality. Just stop it. Who gives a fuck? Like, just start ignoring it. Well, I mean, I don't want to say ignore it. Accept what's going on. Be honest with yourself, right? Like, observe and then shift. But don't stay there. A lot of you will stay there. Oh, they still haven't changed. They still haven't changed. And then you try to live in the end, but 80% of the time, 70% of the time, you're looking at the outside and going, they haven't changed. Well, what do you expect to happen? Are you really embodying the version of you that has it? No. Do you see what I'm saying? It's kind of like an oxymoron type of thing. Not saying you guys are oxymorons, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like it's like trying to get a plant to grow without watering it. Can a plant grow? Can a seed grow in the ground without water and without sunlight? It's like taking a plant. This is how I want you guys to see it. Imagine you planted I don't know, it doesn't matter, a cactus, a tomato plant, whatever, right? You put the plant in the soil. I don't even want to say you put it in the soil. You take 2 seeds, right? You leave one on the countertop. You put one in like a pot, and you put one outside. Which one's gonna grow? And the one outside gets water. You give it one seed is sitting on my counter right now. But I'm doing nothing to make it happen. Is it gonna grow? No. Now the plant that I put in the soil, but put in the back of my closet with no water, no sunlight, is it gonna grow? No. The one that you put in the sunlight and the water outside, right? The plant that you put in the soil outside with water is gonna grow. And not overwatering it, right? Well, that's not the right point I'm getting at. But if you put it outside and you water it, you need to become it in order for it to manifest. So your biggest thing here is, I can 1000% guarantee it's the back and forth. So it's the back and forth between the two realities. Like, you're probably getting some movement because you're able to stay there. But then as soon as you see something you don't like, you're like, oh, see, they're not changing. And then you default to that. So you need to stop. Sometimes the best way to get rid of it, like I said, is acknowledging what's happening, but then stop acknowledging it. Like, acknowledge it, accept it, and then choose better. Do you see what I'm saying? Choose the better version of them. Because if you consistently keep looking at it and then getting triggered and then getting upset, you're still living in that reality. It's okay if it happens sometimes, but you have to make the new version of them more important than what you're seeing. Do you see what I'm saying? Or staying in that story. Okay. Sorry, guys. There's quite a few comments in some of these. Hold on. I'm trying to go back to Darlene's. Okay. Hold on. I'm not going back to those. Okay. Yes, he's hot and cold. I feel like I'm being inconsistent with my self-concept, but it's gotten so much better. Good. So see, remember I said I had a feeling that you were being inconsistent with them and yourself? So here, I want you to be really real about something here, Darlene. Are you prioritizing your SP over yourself? A lot of people do this. Never prioritize your SP over you, because then you're saying that then you're basically saying, I need him to feel a certain way. Do you see what I'm saying? So how often are you doing self-concept? How often are you doing SP shifting? I mean, there isn't a perfect science to this, but like 90% of the day, are you just affirming for him and like 10% of the day for yourself? There's got to be, you need to prioritize yourself first Because the truth is he's going to change with just self-concept alone. Here's the thing. Like I said, I don't want to say back in the day, before I understood embodying states, I would say 90% of the time you should be doing self-concept and 10% SP. I'm not completely, there's no science to this, okay? But you need to be prioritizing yourself always. Meaning, when you think about your SP, live in the end. Yes, I used to focus on him a lot. Oh, okay, so that's probably what you're struggling with. Because you're not, how can you shift if you're constantly trying to change them? It's not about changing them, it's about changing you. Do you see what I'm saying? A lot of us are trying to manifest from a version of us that we can't even manifest from. And that's a real thing. People don't know that that's a thing. You first need to become the version of you that can manifest them in the first place. I say this all the time. Because if you're in a shitty version of yourself, you're going to struggle to manifest them. You're going to get half-assed manifestations. You're going to get them coming in, but maybe disrespecting you or hitting on your friends. And you know who I'm talking about here. And this isn't a knock to you. But when we're prioritizing someone else, we're not always going to get the results we want. Because think about it. By prioritizing someone else, what are you saying? They're more important than me. I need this person in order to feel a certain way. You don't need anyone to feel a certain way. So the most important lesson here is always prioritize your self-concept and yourself. That doesn't mean you can't, imagine for your SP or create a new version of them. Absolutely. But a lot of times people put that on the back burner and then they never shift their self-concept, and then they're manifesting from an old version of themselves that they get triggered, right? They're insecure, and then they're creating more of what they don't want. Does that make sense? Do you see what I'm saying? This is, I could tell by a lot of your comments, I could see when someone's really in their stuff, and I'm just like, I know there's more to this. Don't tell me there's not. I've been on this journey for a long time, meaning I've known about law of assumption for a while. I know my shit. And I call you guys out. While I know a lot of coaches don't I don't feel like call out the way I do. I mean, I think some do, but you gotta be really real with yourself. Okay, I'm trying to manifest from a shitty version of myself. Is that going to help me shift? No. That doesn't mean you can't manifest it all at once. You absolutely can, meaning you can be the best version of yourself and embody being with them, but prioritize yourself. Don't be sitting here, what are they doing right now? Are they with a third party? Ooh, let me check social media. Let me drive past their house. What would we be doing this time last year? Oh, if we went on a date in the future, what would that be like? I mean, when you're thinking from that aspect, right? What are they doing on social media? Who's that girl liking their photo? Or who's that guy? Or whatever, right? Why are they at that person's house? Who's that person? Even if it's at a dude's house, I didn't know they were friends with this person. I didn't know they play volleyball. I didn't know they were into, what are they doing at a Taylor Swift concert? Oh, they're probably with a girl, right? You're going to find that social media is the worst thing you can do to yourself. Just stop it. Just stop it. Don't do it to yourself. Such a waste of money. Well, not waste of money, waste of time. Such a waste of time. Because you're only embodying a state that's not serving you. Guys, start acting like the confident version of you now. Not the insecure version of you. Not the version of you that doesn't have them. A lot of you think you're living in the end, but you're not. Sitting here and being like, where are they? What are they doing? I hate that it's been 6 months that we haven't talked. Well, what do you think? That doesn't mean you can't have those thoughts. You can't have doubts. You can't get upset. Absolutely. I know some people will be like, I've had a couple comments where they're like, oh, you really tear people down for, it's only happened honestly once or twice for having a moment of doubt. That's not the case here. All I'm saying is don't dwell in it. It's okay to think about it. It's okay to have a moment. It's okay to, you just don't want to stay there. You do not want to stay in the pig pen and get yourself all dirty, because then you're going to be in the pig pen. Remember, you become the identity of who you think you are. So this is why it's so important that you choose a different identity and you persist. And for some people, this can happen overnight. It's just consistency. Honestly, and then if you have beliefs that it's hard, manifestation is not just looking at you becoming a different person. It's also what your beliefs are about life. Because if you believe that things are hard for you, they take hard work, they take forever, blah, blah, whatever those bullshit beliefs are, those can also hold you back too. You need to be aware if that's in your, I I don't want to say like you don't have to pinpoint necessarily every single belief, but overall there's a theme, right? Like things are hard. I have to work really hard at things. Things take forever. Things never work out for me, right? Like that's usually a state in itself. Well, that's a belief. Those are beliefs, but those are a part of your state. And then because there's infinite versions of us, but you have to be real with yourself if these things are going on, because if you're trying to shift, but you still have these beliefs kind of active, they can kind of counter you getting there. So you need to just make things easier on yourself and become a version of you that believes better about manifesting, about life. Do you see what I'm saying? Overall. Yes, I used to focus on him a lot. Now this week, like something randomly shifted and I'm focused so much more on me. That's good. Like I used to check social media and be stuck on his page. Everyone does that. Looking for, I don't know what, but now I haven't gone on his page and been focusing on working out. Good for you. Keep prioritizing you. What else? Studying. Okay, so working out, studying, I'm guessing eating better. Not that that's required. Okay. Do the things that make you feel better and be the version of you that has them. Okay, I'm going to scroll up a little bit because there were broken internet, the best thing I can tell you, because I just read your last. I'm not going to look at the above comments. So your biggest thing here is your insecurity about not feeling good enough. And even if because you're saying right here, I just don't want my SP to be attracted to her. We both have similar features and we're both his types, but I just want him to prioritize me. Then prioritize yourself. Do you want to know the really real reason why he was attracted to her and chose her? Because you're lacking confidence, my love. You're not that version of you. And you're having a belief that he's going to go to someone else who's better. You think she's better than you. So you need to become the version of you that is better than her. I don't want to say better than her, but the best choice, right? We're not trying to knock your friend down here. And I think it's awesome that she told you. So at least you know she's loyal. See, I didn't even know that was going on because you said the story kept changing. He cheated. It was my friend. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, if that had happened with my friend, that friend would be out the door. Not that I wouldn't. For me, that's like, I wouldn't want to keep a girl. Well, it depends how close I was with the person, I guess. But yeah, if a friend of mine ever did that to me, regardless of knowing that I create my reality, that person would be out my fucking door. Meaning like I would never talk to that person again if they actually did cheat with like my partner or something. But I have such good self-concept now, I know that would never happen. And if I was starting to feel insecure, I would change my self-concept. But now that you clarified, obviously we know. You really need to work on just your self-concept, your insecurity. Stop thinking that this person's better than you. What makes this person more better than you? Because they have followers? Okay, does she use law of assumption to manifest them? Maybe she's more secure in who she is, but that's about it. Do you see what I'm saying? Admire, and I know you're not hating on her, and I'm not hating on her either here, but just because someone has 500,000 followers does not make them better than you. That's just your limiting belief. You want what they have, so become the qualities that they have, right? Be more confident. Be the person that lights up the room. Feel secure in who you are. Feel safe. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. There were a couple other questions down here. Hi, Barry. How are you? You're welcome, Darlene. So it's been a year and SP has a 3P. Okay. Can I get back to manifest? I feel like nothing works. Well, Lally's world. Some truth coming in here. Okay, guys. So I get that it's been a year and I know it's really frustrating when a third party pops up. Been there, done that. It sucks. Okay. It happens to everyone. Well, I won't say everyone. No, it happens to almost everyone, if I'm being honest. Like third party, when you're trying to manifest someone back and you're insecure, a lot of times that's our worst fear, right? Like they're going to meet someone else, but we already had that within us. Like even with my person, like, when I was first on this journey, like that was a very real thing, a real insecurity I had. So I created it. I didn't mean to, but I did. So here's the thing, Lily, if you feel like nothing works, then nothing's going to work. You need to shift that. You need to change your self-concept about who you are. Now, why there's a third party, I don't know. I don't know 100% all your beliefs and limiting things going on, but you just said here, I feel like nothing works. You need to change that belief to everything does work out for me, right? And I know it sounds, here, I'll be really honest with you. When you're in that state and you feel very frustrated and you feel very defeated, it can feel like nothing's working, right? You become the person that's a failure. You have this belief that you fail at things. You just do. Or maybe that you're a loser. I'm not saying that's what the case is here, but the feeling like nothing works is like, oh, there I go, failing again. Nothing ever works out for me. It's always so hard for me. It works for everybody else but me. I'm not saying those are your exact beliefs, but people usually generally as a consensus, that's what they struggle with. Something along those lines. So you need to change your self-concept around that. Become the person that wins, that always gets what they want, that things come easily to. Just shift to that, man. Man. I don't know why I'm saying man, but like, didn't mean to use, that terminology, but you get what I'm saying. Just shift to that. Back in the day when you'd be like, man, that's so cool. Like, I don't know why, but that was always a thing. It's funny, like sometimes when I say things now, I realize like, why do we say it that way? Right. And then you realize now in today's society, and like no hate to today's society, but that could be seen as offensive. I'm just like, like, I'm telling you, it just, things were so different like 10, 12 years ago. It just like, you have to be very conscious, but it's also habit, right? What we're used to hearing. Yeah, I know. I know no one's taking it personally, but I was like, oh, that is kind of like offensive-ish sort of, because they're not a man, or maybe they are. I'm not saying you are, but you get what I'm saying. Like someone could take it that way, but whatever. Back on track. Okay. We're talking about manifestation. We've changed a lot. We're very conscious as the way we speak in today's society and being, courteous of other people's feelings. So let's look on to this advice on getting rid of a 3P. As far as what? What 3P? What third party? I don't know what you're talking about. Listen, you can overcome any obstacle or any appeared threat in your reality. People that deal with 3Ps don't feel good enough, right? They feel less than. I don't want to give that word any significance, because if I do, you will. Just give them love. Literally, send them love. Here's the thing. Let's be really real. There is a reality where your person is with the third party. Let them live in their own reality. In your reality, choose something different. Just here's the thing, guys. You need to work on the self-concept piece that created that in the first place, right? The insecurities. Because if you don't change that, you're going to keep having third parties. You can get rid of third parties all day, right? I've done it. I was the queen of getting rid of third parties. I've gotten rid of so many in my life, I can't even tell you. But the problem was I was always insecure of not feeling good enough, not feeling adequate, not feeling whatever it was, right? Like feeling that there's a better choice, or that I wasn't perfect, or whatever the bullshit was. If you don't work on how you feel about yourself, your self-confidence, your self-concept, your own self-love, you're going to continually create that. That's why I'm saying don't give them importance. They're just there to show you, hey, I need to work on this aspect of myself. Okay? Even if they're still around, who gives a shit? That doesn't mean it can't change. Give them love. Don't hate them. A lot of people hate the third party. Fuck them. They weren't around. We'd be together. They're a bitch. They're a cunt. They're this. Oh, sorry. I should have probably not used that word, but they're this. They're that. They're a horrible person. He's an a-hole. Right? You can blame them all day. They're just a projection. You chose that reality unconsciously because of your insecurities. Okay? I'm not here to hate on anyone, but guys, stop giving them importance. What third party? If you're sitting in there thinking about them, stalking them, what do you think it's going to be? You're going to get more of what you don't want. Okay? So become more aware. Drop the story. Number one, work on your self-concept when it comes to third parties. Well, I don't even want to say work on the self-concept piece that created them in the first place, and then only focus on the reality that you want. And if they come into your mind, send them love. Or just say, I accept that this is 0.001% of possibilities. This is actually, well, Joe Dispenza doesn't actually say that, but that is a Joe Dispenza thing. Everything in your reality, everything you see is only, I'm like spitting, 0.0001%. 0.01%, meaning like it's this tiny little fraction out of all these possibilities, but you're stuck on this 1.001%. You got infinite realities at your disposal. Okay? But can I be really real? When there's third parties, people create them for two reasons. And I noticed this in my own life, and a lot of you are not going to want to hear this. Think about it. And yes, it comes from insecurities 1000%, but think about it. If there's a third party, you have someone to blame. They're not with me because they're with her. She's better than me. He's better than me. They're better than me. They are better than me. Sorry, I'm not great with the pronouns. Don't yell at me. We a lot of times use it as an excuse because we're comfortable. It happens to a lot of people. And I'm not saying everyone's at this place. A lot of you will be like, but I hate the third party. I can't stand that they're there. Why do you hate them? They're you. You're part of the same whole. Third parties are a comfort level for a lot of people. And I know because it took me a while to realize this with someone, one of my SPs a long time ago. There was a point where like I was so fixated on the third party. It was all I could think about because it was comfortable for me. It was an excuse. I couldn't get them because of that, even though I tried manifesting them, but there was a third party and it was all that could pop in my mind. It's almost like a safety net. Think about it. And I'm not saying that you guys are all doing this deliberately, but be aware of that. Okay, there's a third party and you know it means nothing. I mean, even not knowing manifestation, people get divorces, break up, there's children involved. I mean, literally, like, it's nothing new. People divorce all the time. People break up all the time. Engagements are called off all the time. People move out of people's houses all the time. People disagree on stupid shit and break up all the time. The only reason it has importance is because you think it does. So stop giving it the importance. And if it hurts you, like I said, work on the self-concept piece and then shift. Okay? I'm going to go back through. I know that's not the answer that a lot of you wanted, and I know that some of you are not going to like that answer, but some people are comfortable with the third party aspect. I don't care what anyone says, but some people are comfortable. And it takes a while to admit that. And people that get triggered by that ideology then are not there yet. Then that's okay. I'm not here to knock anybody, but think to yourself, do I really hate the third party, or am I just comfortable with them being there? Because I guarantee you guys, manifestation is about being really real with yourself. A lot of you are bullshitting yourselves. Stop bullshitting yourself. Start being real. The moment you're real, this starts to change. This game starts to change. A lot of you will be like, oh, but I am living in the end, but I am doing this. Are you really? If we understand that everyone is us, right? Then why, or here, okay, so this isn't to get angry with anyone, because I've been guilty of this too, okay? Guys, I always want you to remember I'm speaking from experience. So that's why when I'm hearing some of these things, I'm like, guys, I want you to really be real with yourself about the things that are going on in your life, okay? Be real with the fact that you're comfortable that there's a third party, or that you have someone else to blame, or you can blame your specific person. Be like, a lot of you are comfortable with that aspect because you don't have to take responsibility. A lot of it can I be honest? It's a combination of being confused about law of assumption. The other thing is there's a lot of bad information out there. I hate to say it, but it's really true. A lot of people are teaching shit they should not be teaching. Like, there'll be people making videos about law of assumption, but then they're talking about human design, and then they're talking about horoscopes, and then they're talking about fate in the universe. And I'm just like, why are you talking about law of assumption? You don't even understand law of assumption. But regardless of the point, I know I'm kind of on a tangent. If I'm being really honest, I have a little bit of brain fog this morning, and I need to stop believing that because I will keep having brain fog. It's been a weird morning, but that's okay. We all have off moments. I do too. I'm not perfect. But things don't shift in my reality until I'm really honest with myself. Y'all need to be honest with yourselves. What are you really doing? What are you really thinking? A lot of you are not honest with yourselves about where you're at in in your story or about what's really going on. But I am affirming twice a day for 2 minutes, and the 98% of the other day I'm just thinking shitty thoughts or just believing crappy things. I'm telling you the most important part about two things on this thing. You need to get real with yourself. You have to understand where you're struggling, meaning be aware of like what your beliefs are or who you've been. And if you don't know how to do that, that's when you need to consider talking to a coach or I don't even want to say, can I be really honest? I'm all for manifestation buddies, but you need to be careful because a lot of times y'all, or when you're in a group with people or you're in a Facebook group, there's nothing wrong with that if a coach is leading it, okay? Or if the coach is around and it's like monitored. I've seen like, I think Sammy Ingram runs a pretty tight ship with her group. I think she does a great job with it. Like they don't post shitty things in there, but, and then this is no hate to Sammy, absolutely not. A lot of you use that to stay stuck. A lot of you know what? A good friend of mine mentioned this a while ago. A lot of people get stuck in the process, watching videos, posting in Facebook groups, reading inspirational content. At a point, you know what to do. You just got to do it. And you got to be real with yourself about where you are in the journey. Because there's been times, like I said, in my life too, where I'm like, whether it's getting up early and I'm just like, shit. Like it hit me the other day, like no joke, a couple days ago. I was like, why haven't I been able to manifest getting up really early? And then I'm like, oh, I've been complaining about it. I've been the person that doesn't get up early. Okay, I'm going to stop doing that. It's that simple. You need to be really real with yourself about what you're entertaining because that's the thing in this reality. I heard someone say this analogy the other night. I don't remember who it was. I'm not going to quote them. It doesn't really matter because this isn't that big of a deal. This 3D reality is like a code. You know the HTML behind like a website? That's who your being is creating and projecting this whole reality. So think of like, I know a lot of you are not technical and that doesn't matter. When you're building a website, it all has HTML, right? It has code. Like there's certain codes you got to write in order for the website to look a certain way. That's how your reality is. Your thoughts, your beliefs, well, your predominant thoughts, not every thought you have. Like, I don't want you to think that you got to worry about every thought. That's not how it works. Your belief are the code to your website, to your reality, to your life. And the reason things are the way they are is because of the code you've written. So now you got to write a new code, right? You got to drop the old code and write a new code so things can appear differently. And once you do, it will. But yeah, I don't know. I felt like going on a rant today, and I know I kind of did for a hot minute, but the truth is a lot of people are not honest with themselves on this damn journey. That's why and I know a lot of people like don't like my bluntness and don't like, actually, I take that back because then I'm going to create things I don't want. People love my bluntness. Some people get triggered by it. I mean, overall, I deliver it, I think, in a pretty good way. Like it always comes from my heart. I could bullshit you and tell you everything you want to hear and coddle you and keep you in that state. Or I could be really real with you and be like, okay, stop doing that. Do this instead. And then tell you why you might be doing it. We all do it. We're all guilty of it. But like I'm saying, like a lot of people don't want to be real with themselves on this journey. If you're not real with yourself, how do you expect to shift? Because you can go to a coach, you can go and know exactly what to do, but if you don't do it, if you don't apply it, your life is not going to change. And this isn't about working hard or, having to change. Having to choose, not change. It's not about changing. It's about choosing. Because when you think you have to change, you think it's hard. You think you have to heal. Just be the person who has it. Stop trying to be the person that has it. Because if you keep trying, you're going to keep getting more of trying. Does that make sense? I don't know. I went on a really weird tangent right now. Okay, let me read some of this. When switching states, it's more like being delusional. That's my problem area. Why do you think you have to be delusional, Lolly? Who said you have to be delusional? Okay, that's bullshit too. You don't have to be delusional. You just have to choose. Let me tell you why I don't think being delusional is great. Okay, is there anything wrong with it? No. I Here's the funny part is there's so many things that I agreed with before, and now knowing how to embody states and manifest through states, I'm just like that's kind of like a double-edged sword, meaning like it contradicts itself. The reason I don't like people thinking they need to be delusional, it's this belief that I have to do it 100% 24/7 or nothing's going to work out for me. You can see results through being delusional, absolutely, but it's not perfection. You just have to be delusional, not delusional, you just have to be that person. You can still see what's happening in the 3D reality and not get triggered by it and still manifest what you want. You just have to live in the end up here. I've done it. Everyone's done it to some extent. It's just about not getting triggered by 3D reality. When you think you need to be delusional, it's like, I need to completely wipe everything out and just focus on it. That's not how it works. Does that make sense? You can be delusional, and I've manifested from being delusional. I'd be lying if I said I haven't, but that's not the point here. I just think like having this idea that I have to do it 24/7 nonstop or it's not going to happen is like a dumb, also a belief that it's got to be hard. And I'm not saying that everyone approaches it that way when they're being delusional. But why be delusional? Why not just live in the end? I don't know. Melu Love. Oh, hi, señorita. How are you? It's been a while. Third party situation is old and dying versus over. What third party? What third party, Maria? Guys, I really want you to understand that third parties don't matter. They're not, it's just a reality that you're currently in, and the only reason you're stuck there is because you can't take your focus off of it. And on some level, you probably feel insecure. Well, you do feel insecure, or they wouldn't be there if we're being honest. Just choose something different. Be the version of you that's secure, the version of you that feels good, the version of you that's confident. Stop giving up on yourself so damn easily. I feel like a lot of you will be like, here's the thing. Sometimes it can appear to be hard, but it's really not. And the mind will try to play, games with you. Like it'll try to bring up, but that's a belief in itself too. It can appear like the mind's playing games. It's just familiar. The old story's familiar. The old self-concept's familiar. That's why it feels like a warm, comfy blanket. That's all it is. It's just about choosing something different. Because I could sit here and say like, oh, your mind will play tricks on you. But then if I'm saying that too, then your mind's going to play tricks on you. You have to be really conscious of the stories you have. So, because I have a belief that sometimes when shifting, it could feel like your mind's playing tricks on you. But it's really not. If I believe that, I'm going to manifest it, right? Okay. Living in the end as the third party makes my family think I'm nuts. Why would you even tell your family about it? Here's the thing, guys. A lot of you will come to me like, oh, my family thinks I'm nuts. My friends think I'm nuts. My coworkers think I'm nuts. My boyfriend thinks I'm nuts. Why are you even having conversations with people that don't understand this? You can manifest them understanding this and believing in this. Absolutely. I've done this with a lot of people in my life. Like a lot of people know what I do, and even though they don't 100% agree with it or they haven't shifted to it, they're just like, that's cool. I think it's awesome that you're a coach. Before, I was very terrified of anybody knowing that I'm a coach. But everyone, and most people are like, oh, everything you say makes sense and it's so motivational. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm speaking from truth. There's truth in what we're teaching. Guys, manifestation is not manifestation. It's just you. You're projecting a reality of who you are. This journey is not about your SP. It's not about making more money. It's about yourself. We're just in a 3D realm, and it's about cracking the code to see something better. And I don't even want to say cracking the code. It's just about choosing a different code so you can see a different projection on the screen. It's really not that hard. And I know, and I'm not saying that you guys can't do it. It can appear that way, and it can appear hard and difficult and challenging because we have those beliefs in the way. And I know I've been there, and I'm not going to sit here and say I don't have off days sometimes. And I'm like, ugh, where I'm like up to here, I get frustrated. We all do. We're human. All right. I've been using law of assumption more for career than SP. I got to put me in my dream first. That's awesome. But why not put you both first? Here's the thing. I'm always for you putting yourself first, regardless, right? Self-concept, your worthiness, all that, because that's where everything comes from anyways. What about putting I am first? Nobody talks about that, but it's so important. The I amness, knowing who you truly are, that's very important. People forget to incorporate that because you are already whole and complete. You are perfect. You are God. You're perfect in creation. Even the shitty things are perfect. I hate to say this, even the third party is perfect. Even the obstacles, everything. It's all you, it's all God. Nothing's better than the other or, not good enough or whatever. Do you see what I'm saying? The thing is about, like I said, like changing your code by choosing something different. When you choose something different, you change your code. And when you change your code, it changes. But the problem is a lot of people, instead of continually changing the code, meaning instead of choosing to be that person, they'll only do it a little bit and then be like, oh, everything's just working the opposite. Or, you know what I mean? Go back to old beliefs because they don't give it enough time. Or they give up on themselves too early. Like just persist. That's why we tell you to persist. Keep going until it shows up. Okay. I am in a weird mood today. I feel like, yeah, I'm in a goofy mood today. It happens every so often, but let me look. Hi, so I'm a trans woman, so interested in a guy and I want to make him serious. My best friend was born a girl. Okay. And my SP used to have a crush on her. Okay. He's made it clear that he's interested in me. Awesome. But I can't help but think he's gonna choose her because she's a real girl and I'm trans. I was born a boy, but I want to be a woman. What's your advice? Is there a way I can change my gender? Is that possible? Sorry for my grammar. I'm typing fast. Okay, let's talk about this from a quantumless possibilities. Hey, listen, and I want to be really real with you, okay? And there's absolutely, there is a reality where you were born a girl, okay? If that's what you want to embody, then I would revise that you were born a girl. You don't have to necessarily, here's the other thing I want you to know too. You don't necessarily have to change that in order to manifest your SP, okay? Because you said it right here. My SP, hold on, where did it, you said it that he has made it clear that he has interest in me. So I don't know what your end game is with your person, and I don't know all your beliefs, okay? And Barry, but it's really up to you. Here's the thing, guys. When you're trying to change something that seems impossible, and I'm not saying it is, or seems more difficult, because I feel like people, the things that people struggle with the most, if I'm being honest, I would assume it is because it's come up in topic. This isn't the first time I've talked about gender, and I've said it before. You can absolutely change your gender. Of course you can. Think about it. If we can revise death, if we can revise anything, of course we can revise gender, right? But in order to be a fully, a cisgender female from birth, you would have to be born a female. So you would have to revise that in your, revise that and believe that you were born a girl. You would have to go into your imagination, but you have to believe it's possible for you. Do you see what I'm saying? If you have a limitation or a belief that you can't, then you're going to restrict yourself. So what's more, do you want to become, here's a good question for you, Barry. And I think when you answer this question, I can better answer your question. Do you want to become a woman from at birth so you can have your SP, or do you just want, or do you feel that you want to, and either, there's no right or wrong answer to this, okay? Do you want to change do you want to become a female from birth so you can have your SP, or do you want it just because you've always wanted to be female and you would have preferred to be born a female? Do you see what I'm saying? Because the truth is there's no right or wrong answer to this. But I don't want you to change from being a transgender woman to a woman because you feel that you need that to be with your SP. Do you see what I'm saying? Only do it because it's what you want to do. Don't do it so they accept you or want to be with you, because you can manifest them being with you or accepting you either way. Do you see what I'm saying? But if that's what you truly desire to be a woman, then do it. Absolutely. So I'm waiting to hear back from Barry. Did I even say that right? Yes, I think I did. and we'll go from there. But I think the most important thing is, and whether you respond or not, here's the most important thing. Because people think that changing gender is impossible, revising death is impossible. What are other things that people think is impossible? I would say those two things in particular. Oh, thank you, Barry, for responding. I always felt like a woman, and being trans causes so much insecurity for me. I can understand that. I can sympathize with that. I'm sorry. I can't, I don't want to say understand because I don't know what you're going through. I've never gone through that personally. I feel like I'm a fake woman. Okay. And my best friend is better than me because of that. Okay. So it stems from your insecurity. So two things here. Okay. Because you're saying I always felt like a woman. Then just revise. That's what I would do. Because honestly, if you were always a woman, you were always a woman. I mean, I know in a lot of states, can't you change your birth certificate? You technically can. Like you can change the, I don't remember where I read it, but I think you can change like your birth certificate too. Not saying you have to go that route. That is one route. But Barry, I want you to be insecure. I want you to be not insecure. I don't want you to feel insecure about who you are either though. I want you to feel secure about who you are as well. Do you see what I'm saying? So this comes back to insecurity because here's the thing, and I'm being really honest here with your self-concept, because this is with anything. This is sometimes the belief that, and I don't want to use your gender as an example because it just doesn't feel right to me to do that. A lot of times a lot of people will struggle with this, right? We feel that we'll feel more loved when we're with our SP, right? Like we get them back, we're together, but then on some level we still feel insecure. We still don't feel good enough. We still don't feel whole and complete. And we're like, but we're in the relationship we want. Why don't I feel secure? Why don't I feel good enough? I used to struggle with this when I was with my, now that I've been with my ideal person, or in the past, I wouldn't say now. And I would be like, what's lacking? This was before I understood self-concept or when I was in relationships. It's because we still haven't shifted. Do you see what I'm saying? A lot of times we think the thing is going to bring us happiness. The most important thing is that you feel secure in who you are now. And if you feel that's the right choice for you, absolutely, revise your birth and believe that you've always been a woman from birth. That's what I would do. But I also want you to work on your self-concept as who you are as a person. Because you are whole and complete and you are perfect, Barry. You're God. I'm God. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. And I want you to understand that you're not a fake woman. You're a transgender woman. And there's no shame in that. And I'm not saying that's how you feel, but you're saying here you're very insecure and that it bothers you. But that's because you feel insecure about who you are. This is deeper than just your identity, my love. And this could be translated into any other aspects. And like I said, I'm not a counselor. I don't deal with stuff like that. But you know what? I would explore that. If you think, and I'm not saying you need it, and I have no idea what it's like to go through that because, I was born a female at birth and I've always been comfortable being a female and I love being a, cisgender female. And I was going to say, if you struggle with those type of insecurities, I would suggest embodying a state, being the version of you that feels secure as who you are right now, regardless of what your gender is. Whether you're a transgender woman or whether you're a woman at birth. Because even if you become a woman, right, you may still struggle with those insecurities because you still have those insecurities within you, not feeling good enough, not feeling whole and complete. Do you see what I'm saying? So no hate to you. And like I said, I can sympathize, I can empathize, but I don't know what you're actually going through. So I don't fully understand it, and no ignorance on my part. I think the most important thing here is creating a self-concept, feeling more confident in who you are. And then if you want to, absolutely revise that and become and identify as that. I mean, literally anything's possible. Literally, people have woken up and jumped to completely different realities. People have made SP babies go away. I mean, I'm telling you, anything's possible. And I really do believe that. Okay. And I hope that helps you. And I'm sorry if I'm like trying to catch my thought, but I'm trying to think from your perspective. And Don't know what that's like, but please do what's best for you. And you know what? Here's another thing too. And I think I suggested earlier, if you feel that you could get help from a counselor that could support you in that, look into that as well. It doesn't hurt, you know? Maybe they can help you uncover some beliefs that you have going on there. If you ever want one-on-one coaching, I offer it. I would love to help you. It's not needed, but do what you feel is best in your heart, okay? Mary Lou, as a transgender woman, I know how you feel, and I used to have the same belief. You already identify as a woman. That makes you 1,000%. I agree 100% with you. Mary Lou, love. And I love that you have each other there to support each other. All right, any last questions before we wrap up? It has been an interesting live. Oh, my leg is falling asleep. Let me see. I want to just make sure I didn't miss anything before we close out for the day. Do you guys hear the children running up and down my hall? The beauty of living in my building. I need to change my beliefs about it. I love my neighbors, but some of them are a bit ridiculous in the middle of the day. Okay, how can I manifest a bigger following? So you need to change your beliefs. I don't know what you're trying to manifest, broken internet. How do I manifest a bigger following? Just imagine it. Be that person. I don't know if you're just trying to, do I act famous? What feels natural and normal for you? Ask yourself, what would the version of me that has a big following be thinking, doing, and feeling? That's probably the best way to answer your question, because that's a pretty vague question. If it was a little bit more like specific, I could give you a better answer. One last question for me after going through the birds before land part. Do we keep embodying the version of ourselves even though after the full manifestation happens? Do you have your full manifestation now? Or do you mean you need to be a little more specific, señorita? So one last question from me after going through the birds before land part. You mean after you start getting evidence? So birds before land just means you're in the state, okay? That means you've already shifted. You're in the right reality. Do we keep embodying the version of ourselves even though after the full manifestation happens? Yes. I mean, to some aspect, yes. And I get what you mean, full manifestation. So if you're getting birds before land is an indication that you've entered the state, that you may not see the full manifestation right away. So yes, of course, you would still embody the state. But if that is enough for you and you feel confident in that, you wouldn't have to keep living in the end. If seeing birds before land for you is like, oh, I'm in the state, there's nothing else to do, I feel confident, and you feel good in that, that's okay too. But you got to remember, once you get your manifestation, whether it's in a relationship, let's say you manifest contact from your SP and you guys going on a date, right? We're just saying hypothetically, you haven't talked in a year and they call you, you go on a date, you have a great time. If that's all you focus on, that's all you're going to get. What's the next step after that? You would go to being in a committed relationship, right? Or being married or whatever that is for you. You would have to continue with that. Do you see what I'm saying? So the most important fact here is keep embodying that state, and eventually that will become natural and normal to you. But at some point, you're going to get bored with it, meaning you're going to want more. You know, if you get your let's say you don't manifest a date with your SP, but you manifest contact and you guys talking. That doesn't necessarily mean a date. Maybe you talk every day, but you're not going on dates. Then you need to shift to the version of you that's dating them or the version of you that's in a relationship or living with them. Do you see what I'm saying? An aspect, you're always going to maybe shift to a higher state. But if you're with someone and you're happy, you just maintain it. You keep thinking those thoughts. You keep being that person. You keep identifying with that. Do you see what I'm saying? I got my evidence. I got offers to an audition for roles in TV shows, movies. Congratulations. So happy for you, señorita. That's awesome. So happy, so happy, so happy. Congrats. 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 All right, guys, I am going to wrap it up. I am done with the evening. I know there is one last question in queue, but if I answer another question's going to come through. Anything is possible. That's all I'm going to leave with you. And you can manifest anything. While I could answer your question, I'm just choosing. You can manifest anything. Okay. Remember that. I am done for the day. I will be live next week at 11 a.m. Thank you all for showing up. And have a great evening. And I'm on, I know you're asking a question. I talked about this earlier in the live. So I would just go every Friday at 11 a.m. CST. Do you guys like this time? Or would you prefer a later time, earlier time? How do you guys feel about the time? Aman, I already talked about your, so Aman, I would answer your question, but the truth is if once I get off the live, just go back and watch the video. Like I literally talked about this earlier about hot and cold behavior. Like I talked about it multiple times. So I would just go back. It'll answer your question. Okay. Okay. I guess we'll stick with this time then for now. Every Friday, 11 a.m. Okay. I'll see you next week. Much love to you guys all. And I need to do a lot of things. I would love to stay and hang out with you for a little bit longer, but I need to eat. I need to work out and get my day going because I had a very busy morning. And this was at 11 a.m. and now there's other things I got to do. I have an appointment. All right. Have a great day. I'll see you guys next Friday, 11 a.m. CST. I will try to be a little bit more on time and I'll have this set up ahead of time. Okay. But Aman, go and watch go through it and you'll see I talk about hot and cold behavior. Okay. All right. Bye. Have a good day.